Yes, legends, we're back for another episode. This is 26 Podcast. I'm your host, Rogz and Scotty. Welcome to 26 Podcast. Today, myself, my brother are joined by the bare knuckle Viking, Tyler Goodjohn. Tyler, how are you, mate?
I'm doing very well indeed, thank you.
Good, thanks for having us here in the Fens, mate. We did a training session a week ago, which was quality. I know me and Scotty enjoyed ourselves a lot. I asked you as well in the gym how you reckon I done, and you give me a bit of a G up. So I want you to tell everybody here who probably ain't seen the session how decent I am at boxing.
Tell you what, I said this morning to someone, you can box a bit, man. You can box. Yeah, it was good. It was a good session from both of you. Yeah, it was good. Enjoyed it. I'm
gonna look forward to going back to Jay, my mate in Australia, and telling him that Tyler Goodjohn said I've got a bit. So that's my claim to fame. We're going to talk about all things present. I know everybody is very sort of familiar with your story. I mentioned on my Instagram that we were having a chat today, and some fighting fans got in touch, and we've got some questions for you later on. Myself and Scotty were in Marbella this weekend for the card in Marbella. My first bare knuckle experience live, and I just wanted to share with you at one stage of the card, I saw some fights end early and some fighters take some punishment, and I turned to Scotty, and this is genuine, I'm not just saying this because we're sat here today, and I went, mate, being here makes me realise even more so how tough Tyler Goodjohn is. Just talk to us about fighting and your toughness, because it is, where does that come from? Is that like a mental thing? Do you have that built ingrained in you? What is it, Tyler?
I believe, look, I've been fighting 23 years now. I turned professional just over 14 years ago. And at the end of the day, I've been through a lot of adversity, and it builds character, it builds strength. And when tough times arise, you're ready for it at the end of the day, Yeah, my whole career has built me to be the person that I am today. Yeah,
and one thing that we wanted to really talk to you about as well is that there was a situation. So we were supporting James Lilly, and we were supporting him off the back of watching him fight you, because we obviously follow you. His opponent come in and weighed in 4 pounds overweight, and then when they got in there and were fighting, my brother said straight away, he looks like a weight division above him. And we looked at that and just gone, bare knuckles, obviously, it's probably the most brutal combat sport. We wanted to ask you, how dangerous can that be, I guess?
It's really dangerous. I think, for the casual boxing fan who looks at 4 pounds, it doesn't seem like a lot, but like we spoke about beforehand, that it being the day before weighing, that guy's come in 4 or 5 pounds overweight. So what's that, 160? He's probably, I would say, on average, fighters are putting 15, 20 pounds on overnight. So he's coming in at 180, whereas, James Lilly's coming in at probably 165, 170 perhaps. So, on fight night, you're fighting someone, 10 pounds heavier than you. It's a hell of a lot. So that's a very, very naughty thing to do, coming in 4 pounds overweight. I mean, I've never missed weight once in my career, because it's just not something you do you know what I mean? Especially for a big event like that one out in Marbella. So I'd be interested to know what Bkfc done about it. If anything, I very much doubt they done a thing, because they wanted the fights to go ahead. James would know all this, and it probably was playing on his mind before the fight, because he knows that, this guy's going to naturally be a lot bigger. The overnight weigh-in, he's going to come in a lot bigger.
James said, I spoke to him briefly at the weigh-in, Tyler, and I said, what are the ramifications for this? Obviously, there was no title on the line officially, so it's just a case of I can get a deduction off of his purse. But as we said, it's a dangerous game. It's a difficult one. Like, so what does James do? He's out there, he's done the training camp, he's got friends and family coming over, he's ready to fight. If by rights, you could just say, well, that's not on, I'm not getting in with you, but it's a difficult position for James to be in, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. It's, like I say, James has probably put like an 8-week camp in for this fight. He's gotten over there with his team. and his opponent turns up at 4 pounds overweight, which if he's turning up at 4 pounds overweight, he's probably, dried out and cut. You would hope that he's at least trying to cut some weight. So actually, he's a big guy, man. He's not making 155. If you're coming 4 pounds overweight, you're not coming in. Like, if you're coming in a pound overweight, it means that, right, you've really tried to make the weight. But if you're coming in 4 pounds over, it's taking the piss, mate.
He didn't look drawn or anything. Trust me, he was jumping about like Zebedee, and he looked, in the face. You can tell when a fighter's tried to make weight, and he hadn't. He hadn't clearly.
So is that down to that's unprofessional from him?
That's just super unprofessional. Like I say, I've never missed weight. Whether it's a title fight, whether it's a 4-rounder, whatever it is, you just don't miss weight. Like, it's just something that fighters don't do. So yeah, piss poor.
What really seemed to surprise me, and I know Scotty just touched on it then, is that when the fight was done, he was almost like hysterical. He was walking around, falling over. He acted like it was a world title fight, and he'd just overcome some massive thing. And me as a fight fan, and I'm by no means a fighting expert, even though you think I've got potential, Tyler. I'm not an expert, right? But I was sitting there in the stand, I'm going, mate, you've come in for a 4 pound. Like, I'm thinking he should be a little bit embarrassed. Like, you've come in 4 pound overweight. You're now jumping around the ring. Something just didn't sit right with me, and maybe a part of that was there. I was in James Lights Out Lily's jersey and there to support him, but something there just didn't sit right with me. You're celebrating, but you've been unprofessional, mate. So really, what you're celebrating?
I mean, on paper, when it says now, he's obviously got a first round knockout against James Lilly, who's one of the top fighters in Bkfc and has been, for a while. So it looks fantastic. But for anybody who knows anything about the fight game, coming in 4 pounds overweight, it's ridiculous. And I feel sorry for James because obviously, his career is going to take a massive hit off the back of that. And I'm sure he's feeling down about it today, but it's a piss take. Simple as that.
We obviously were there supporting James, and we like James a lot, respect him highly. We had a chat with him as well on weigh-in day about yourself, and he had lots of good things to say about you as a fighter and as a person. We know that you've obviously fought against him. His family, when we actually caught up with them and had a beer, they said that it was their favourite fight. Yeah. Talk to us about James from your side, because I know there's a mutual respect there.
Yeah, no, I like James first and foremost as a person, and he's obviously a great fighter, very experienced bare knuckle fighter. I think that was perhaps his 10th, 11th fight perhaps on Saturday. So he's been about a long time. One of the very first in BKB over here. And yeah, no, we had a great fight. I fought that fight with one eye pretty much. He caught me with a great shot in the first round, and yeah, he fought a great fight. Like, if you're going to fight me the way you should, is get on your bike, mate. And he did. And, he kept me at distance. And, he showed his skills. I thought he boxed really well against Palomino as well. But again, that's at that weight. And I can't stress enough to people, who don't really understand the whole weight situation, but you can't be coming in 4 pounds overweight. And like I say, if he's drying out and was cutting as well, God knows what he was coming down from. The whole overnight rehydration, he's probably putting 20 pounds on. So, yeah, that was very naughty. And I feel sorry for James, because like I say, he'll be... Well, you said beforehand that perhaps he was even thinking about calling it a day, which, he's going to be feeling it, this week and probably next week. But I'm sure when he looks at it, I actually see the pictures of the weigh-in, and straight away thought myself, mate, he's massive. He's so much bigger than James. I didn't realise he come in 4 pounds heavier than James. So, yeah, it's a shame. It will obviously have a big knock-on effect for James now.
Which is a shame. I think I've got the same opinion as many BKFC fight fans, that we would love to see you fight again. There is a side of me, I said to you the other day, didn't I, that, I'd love for you not to fight as well, because I don't want to see you take any more punishment. But I know that there's some form of animosity with yourself and the BKFC. Are you all right to just explain, why there's friction there?
Yeah, it's quite a long conversation, but the top and bottom of it is I've had 4 fights with Bkfc, and there's been massive problems every time I've fought, you know, massive problems with, like, you know, and we're talking contractually problems, you know, stuff they put in a contract and promised and not kept to. The Palomino fight, obviously, I had to quarantine on my own in Dominican Republic. They're sending me links to the hotel I'm staying in. I've turned up at Dominican and I'm in the fucking hood of Boca Chica, living with 2 people I've never met who cannot speak a word of English. It was just like, and if you're watching, Nelson fucking Lopez and Dave fucking Cranston, you pair of mugs, they know all about it. The phone calls I had with them, you know, like I say, they promised me so much and delivered none of it. Even the James Lilly fight, I went out to Miami. They only announced our fight 3 weeks out. We're obviously fighting in the UK. They've put in my contract that I have to sell 30 grand's worth of tickets in 3 weeks. Wow. They'd already announced the show 5 weeks prior to announcing my fight. So I'm thinking to myself, well, not only have I got 3 weeks to sell 30 grand, but you've announced the whole show 5 weeks ago. So everyone's already got their fucking tickets. You know what I mean? So obviously me and James have had the war we've had. Like I say, I've pretty much fought the fight with one eye, and they've docked $10,000 from my purse. When
does that get agreed that you have to sell that, or is that part of like? Listen,
so that was it. 3 weeks out, I was in Miami. They said, "Look, you know, you either fight James Lilly. That's the only fight." I had no problem with fighting James Lilly, but the fact that I had to sell 30 grand's worth of tickets in 3 weeks when I'm in Miami was a problem, and. Yeah, man, they made me pay for it. They docked me 10K.
Yeah, that's tough. And when I look at it, and I know I'm biased towards you because, as I say, I've followed you for a long, long time now. When I look, even we said this in Marbella, I look at Tyler Goodjohn. You really are a pin-up and a pinnacle of what they like, right? So I look at what Dave Feldman likes. He often says, you know, he wants fighters to fight their ass off, give everything. He's actually quite open and honest in post-fight interviews where if he doesn't think that fighters have gone out there and put everything on the line, it doesn't matter how big the name is, he doesn't mind coming out and saying that. When I look at Tyler Goodjohn, I go, again, something that I said to you the other day, I've never ever watched one of your fights, whether it's win, lose, whatever it is, I have never ever felt robbed of watching one of your fights. It's always been, what a fight, what a guy, left everything out there. Whereas I've watched some big names in boxing and gone, why'd I bother getting up in the middle of the night for that? Yeah. I've been absolutely robbed of my money. Yeah. So it's, what I want to get at is, why is Tyler Goodjohn not being used as the pinnacle of BKFC? Because when I look at it, that's what it should be.
Someone asked me this, and all I can put it down to is the fact that they know they fucked me, and they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed, and they can't bring me back because they've fucked me so many times. And at the end of the day, I'm not the kind, like all these other people out there that will do anything for clout. I get people come up to me talking about BKFC behind their back. Oh, they're fucking shit. They're this. They never, stick to their promises and all that. And then the next thing you know, they're on Instagram. Oh, I love BKFC. BKFC, the biggest, the best there is, and all that. And I think, you mug. And the trouble is, I'm not the kind of person to wear it at the end of the day. You treat me badly, I'm going to come out, I'm going to tell people. And people have said to me, oh, you're burning bridges and everything. So what? What, do you think that I need to be going in there, risking my life? Because that's what I do. Every time I fight, I'm willing to fucking die in that ring, right? To then be turned around and dock 10,000 of my wages, not be given accommodation, flights. You know, it's just like... And my last 2 fights, this is a joke as well, I've gone to the hospital afterwards to get medical attention, and I've had to pay for it myself. And you think I've just gone in there to make you money, and I'm paying for my own medical bills? It's like...
The least they should do is look after their fighters.
It makes my blood boil even thinking about it. And it makes my blood boil to think that people out there still expect me to go and give my health, for them to make money. That's what annoys me more than anything, because, you know, at the end of the day, I don't need to do it, you know. So yeah, look, it's disappointing because obviously I love to fight, I love to entertain, I'm very marketable, I'm very controversial. I look at myself as the complete package, to be fair, in the bare knuckle game. But that being said, Bare Knuckle FC just cannot stick to their promises, cannot stick to anything, and I'm sure they're embarrassed. They must be embarrassed how they treat me. I put a post up a couple of months ago, you know, talking about how I believed that I was almost ahead of the bare knuckle game a little bit in terms of I was the first one to go to America, the first one to fight for the title in COVID. So I sort of feel like had someone else have done that, perhaps I would have got treated a little bit better down the line, if you know what I'm saying. Because I was the first one, they didn't quite have things, you know, set in place. I don't know. But, you know, Dave Feldman himself, if he's watching this, again, another very, very two-faced man. After the Soto fight, he's coming up to me, I thought you won that fight. The geezer couldn't leave me alone at the hotel. Oh, I want you to fight in October, this, that, everything else. And then, what's it been, 17 months? I've not heard a thing from him. So,
it's crazy. You're good for his business at the end of the day, and it is a business. Whether he likes you, whether he don't, whether you like him or not, you are a great selling point. We said that genuinely. I don't think anyone could disagree that you would have been fantastic entertainment for that card the other day. What was your feelings, Tyler, before that? It must have, we said, you know, obviously Soto was main event. You arguably beat him. That's up for debate, but it was very, very close fight, and you arguably beat Tony Soto, and then he's headlining in Marbella. How did you feel looking at it from afar? And then you said afterwards you're actually quite relieved that, you know, you sit here today and you're in good health, good peace, you know, you haven't got a swollen face, etc. And, you know, so what are your sort of feelings pre and prior to the fight,
obviously,
to the event?
You know, I didn't like the fact he was in the press conference, he was talking mad disrespect, sort of saying, oh, I put Goodjohn in his ass and stuff like that, which he never done. And more than anything, I think the disappointing thing was that no one even spoke up and said anything. And like, no, hold on, that didn't happen. No one's really said anything apart from the fans on YouTube and stuff like that. You know, no one's really stuck their neck out for me or anything. Obviously, seeing the build up to this fight, him being with Conor McGregor and everything else, you know, I'm arguably far more marketable than Tony Soto. I mean, to me, the build-up with Tony Soto, he looked like he was trying to be someone that he's not. He was turning up with the schneid fucking Versace glasses on, giving it the big all this kind of shit. But at the end of the day, like, that's not him. That's not him, do you know what I mean? He was trying to... It's a bit like WWE, really. He was trying to play a character, and I sort of understand it. But yeah, you know, you sit me beside Conor McGregor. You sit me at the top table, mate. There's action. Yeah, simple as that. Like, and the thing with me, it's not a fucking game. I'm not trying to masquerade as some dangerous fighter. I'm a dangerous motherfucker, and I come to fight. And you believe it. You believe every word I say. You know what I mean? So that's what I do.
You've got to be able to do both things. You've got to be able to fight and be marketable. Absolutely. We see Dave Redneck Mundell fight Danny Christie the other day. Superb fighter, Mundell. Brilliant, no question. Like, Danny couldn't get anywhere near him, with respect. But, you know, Dave Feldman's openly said Redneck Mundell needs to be a bit more out there. And, you know, like say, I guess calling for Mike Perry helps, etc. I say, brilliant fighter, but you've got to be able to do both, which is what you do.
Yeah, you know, look, you have to sell yourself to the public. The public either have to love you or hate you, you know. But at the end of the day, if they still hate you, they're still paying to watch you fight. And that's, you know, you look at, for example, Jake Paul at the minute, you know, half of the people probably absolutely hate him, but they're still tuning in to watch him. That's why he's doing so well. I know that a lot of people hate me. A lot of people hate me. Like, you know, it doesn't bother me. I quite like playing the heel character. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you're marketable for that reason. You know?
So going back to the whole thing of why Tyler Goodjohn isn't the poster boy, essentially, is because you speak up. Do you think that other fighters don't speak up just because they know that ultimately, if they do speak up, then they're going to be out the game?
1,000,000%. And it's like I say, I've had a lot of BKFC fighters come and almost confide in me, you know, because I'm the guy that they know, you know, BKFC have fucked over. Oh, I'll come and speak to him, and you know, and then putting, you know, advertising the fuck out of BKFC the next minute. So it's like,
it's because they want to get what they want to get. They know they're going to get.
And again, I get
it,
that. I do get it. But the trouble with that is that, you know, at some point you're going to get fucked by them. You know, you've only got to look at the way they're treating Luis Palomino now. He's a little bit of an outsider, and at one point he was the pound for pound number one, 9-0. You know, they couldn't stop talking about him. So if they're willing to do that to their pound for pound champ, they're willing to do it to anybody. And the game's not going to change unless people speak up and go, actually, mate, I'm putting my life on the line for you. Give me a bit more respect.
So I'm from a football background, and in situations like this where things haven't been right at certain clubs, what we would do is get together. Captain would, you know, get the group to make a decision, because obviously a group is always a lot more powerful than what an individual is. I guess that in the fighting world, that's a lot more difficult, because you're essentially, no matter, you might get on with X, Y, and Z as fighters, but you're not a team really. You're all individuals, and that would be tougher to do that. But imagine if these things are wrong, i.e., you know, you're not staying in good accommodation, you're paying for your own medication and things like that. That's, you know, again, I talk from a fight fan's point of view. I would have gone, that's a given, right? If you're coming out of there all cuts, bruises, and this is no exaggeration, you do put your life on the line when you step in there. I would have thought it was an absolute shoe in that. You leave there, and BKFC do everything in their power to look after you and make sure you get the medication and medical attention that you need. So I guess, you know, what I'm saying is that it would be powerful if more fighters did, but it's a very tough thing to do. Who leads that? How do you get that to happen? But do you think it will improve now Conor is involved and there potentially is more money, more scope? Do you think it would improve?
I don't think it'll improve for the sort of lower down fighters. I feel like, you know, your Mike Perry's, your Chad Mendes and all them people who are, you know, earning 500k a fight, coming over with the massive online presence and that, they'll get looked after. But I don't believe it will be for the other fighters. I mean, I know for a fact that people, they're just hoping for an Instagram post about them and they're happy. Oh, I've got a few followers and all that. It's just the fight game is full of dick suckers, man. And I can't stress it enough. And people will probably be watching this and they're a dick sucker themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's just the way it is. And they'll look down their nose at people like me and stuff like that for speaking out. Especially like, you know, at pretty much the pomp of my career, you know, doing really well, got the platform, you know, everyone loves me in the game and stuff like that. I want to speak out because now I've got that platform, I'm at that level. And not only that, I've had it all in the boxing game. This isn't my first rodeo. Do you know what I mean? I was signed to Eddie Hearn and everything else, so I've been through it all once before, and I'm not ready to go through it all again. So I'm ready to speak out about it. But yeah, it's still the same minions behind the scenes at the end of the day. Conor McGregor's there as, you know, the poster boy and everything else, you know, the front man, but it's still the same little minions doing all their thing behind the doors, closed doors. Shout out Nate Shook, the match man. I fucking hate Nate Shook. The one motherfucker that I never ever liked at BKFC, never showed any respect. I've never seen him show any respect to any of the fighters. I'm not sure what his fucking problem is. But he's the matchmaker, you know. So you piss the matchmaker off, that's pretty much you outed. And someone actually, funny enough, messaged me the other week saying that he'd messaged Nate Shook when we seen Tyler Goodjohn again, and Nate Shook got back saying Tyler Goodjohn will never fight for BKFC again. So, Nate Shook, you are a scruffy, homeless-looking cunt, mate.
What is he just not a nice bloke?
He's just a prick, mate. He's one of them people, like, look, at the end of the day, I've got time for everyone. I've got, you know, I'm polite to everyone. You know, he's just one of them people who just just can't seem to be polite and respectful to people. You know, especially the fight. The fighters are your bread and butter. At the end of the day, without the fighters, you ain't got a fucking show. So show a little bit of respect. I don't know who you think you are, like, but just show a little bit of respect. As simple as that. It's not hard, but he just can't seem to do it, mate.
Yeah. Tyler, I watched the Tony Soto fight. Probably genuinely one of the best fights that I've ever seen. It was carnage. It was so brilliant that, you know, I'm a supporter of you, and I was up in the living room punching the air. It was exciting. Both fighters, mad respect to you and Tony Soto for that fight, honestly. And I thought you won. I laugh with Jay and Scott because I was in my living room doing the same as Palomino. Palomino was doing that behind you. I thought you'd won that fight. And then you didn't, obviously. And I said, well, they have to, my words were they have to run it back. Did you speak out? Is that why it won't run back? Or what? Why, mate? There's not a fight fan, whether you like Tyler or not, there's not a fight fan in the world that wouldn't want to see that fight again. Why has that not been run back?
Well, so after that fight, I actually got straight back into training because I just thought that there's no way on earth that they're not going to run that back and be an immediate rematch. Do you know what I mean? Because strike while the iron's hot, off the back of that massive fight. It's not the kind of fight that you want to be leaving a year, 2 years. You know, you want to be going, boom, right, let's have it in Miami. I was living at Miami at the time. It was like my adopted home. I went to South Carolina, fought you in your place, so come over and fight me in mine. And I didn't hear anything from Bkfc for a month, 6 weeks, and I remember messaging, Nate shook. And then he just messaged me back saying that we don't think it warranted a rematch, and that was it. That's the last I've ever heard from Bkfc.
We've just seen it even in the boxing game. Fraser Clark and Fabio Wardley. I know we're going slightly different here, but they had a really close fight that, you know, no one really could call the winner. So, and yours was the same. You know, some people would have said Tony Soto, some Tyler, and you know, like you say, they don't seem to like doing rematches. So we're hammering Bkfc here a little bit, but like even Palomino and Trout, you know, Palomino's been calling for that. That could have potentially been on the Marbella card and would have been a huge fight for them. They obviously went down the Rico Franco line, but you know, they just don't seem keen on running rematches, do they?
No, I mean, look, from a business perspective, again, people who don't really know the business of fighting, at the end of the day, it's no good an Englishman winning in South Carolina against a South Carolina ticket seller. He then went on to have another fight, 3-4 months after our fight against Kevin Kroom in South Carolina. So by me ending that circus, going and fighting, you know, the South Carolina fighter, beating him, that puts a stop to that. Because any fighter will tell you, look, trying to sell tickets after a loss, no one wants to fucking know you. So, you know, I sort of understand why it went that way, but I did believe that there's no way they can ignore this rematch, especially in Miami as well. You know, it was my adopted home. Like, I was out there. I have a big support base in Miami. So I honestly thought, you know, perhaps they'll have that Kevin Kroom fight. Then, you know, they'll be taking me on. But like I say, I just never ever heard from Bkfc again. Never. Up until this day, I still haven't heard nothing.
Well, I think obviously the initial is that's a real shame, but there is some nice part of that where we go, you know, us as caring of you. I met you for the first time last week after following your journey, and if I was to say Tyler will never fight bare knuckle again, I think there's a nice part in me that goes, it's good. I don't want to see you getting hurt and taking punishment too much more. You've give a hell of a lot to the game and been involved in some brilliant fights. I read something online the other day that said every time Tyler fights, it's almost guaranteed to be fight of the night. And that's no coincidence. That is every time you fight. When you are fighting in bare knuckle, Tyler, we caught up with Tony Soto right after the fight the other night, and mate, his hand was like, I want to say like 5 times the size. What's the damage in your hands when you're punching in bare knuckle? How much more tactical do you have to be with your punches and the way you throw them to normal boxing? Just give us an insight as a for the fans and those that don't actually get in there and fight?
Yeah, so, you need to be landing on I say the part of your hand that was meant for punching, the two knuckles here. So obviously, even the jab, whereas, in a boxing glove, you could pretty much flick it out, not even tense your hand up, but bare knuckle, you need to be landing on them two knuckles, hook, the jab, same with the right hand, you need to be landing on them two knuckles. You land on the outside of your hand, you're breaking your hand, as simple as that. You're breaking your fingers, I broke fingers. So there's a lot more to it than people think, obviously, with the dirty boxing and things like that, it can look a bit clumsy and almost, dirty boxing, which, essentially it is. But yeah, landing shots. Trouble is, obviously, over 4 or 5 rounds, the more tired you get, you're just, you're chucking punches to connect, and you're probably not thinking too much about, how you're throwing it, which is when injuries happen. But I can just say from previous experience, look, when I'm in there, I don't care, but an hour after the fight, when the adrenaline's gone, like after the Soto fight, I remember taking myself back to the hotel, and I remember just limping, just crawling into bed, and I was thinking to myself then, fuck me, if anyone could see me now. Do you know what I mean? Like, from an entertainment point of view, we lay it all on the line, mate.
I watched is it called Unbroken?
Yeah.
Watch the Unbroken documentary that you did, which is brilliant, by the way. If anyone's not watched it, head across and watch it. It's on YouTube. It's called Unbroken, Tyler Goodjohn. And you fought at the O2. Who did you fight on there?
Sean George.
Sean George. Yeah. And there was a moment, and me and Jay both looked at the screen like, oh my days. Like, you were laying there, and I think your mum, bless her, was like putting a straw to your mouth where you could just get some water on. And for us as fans, very similar to what you touched on there, we were like, oh my gosh, like, when it's all been and said and done, and we've all gone, yeah, go Tyler, go for the fighters the other night. That's the aftermath of it. That's mental, mate. Like, honestly, looked like you were on your deathbed, bro.
Yeah. Well, like that fight, that moment, actually, I had 2 duvets over me. I'd gone into shock, so I was freezing cold. I mean, you see the state of my face. I actually ended up going to hospital because my head was just, swelling so much. But yeah, no, that's the aftermath. And another little story, when I come out of that fight, the O2, you got no one to give you a lift there. So I've got my mum and dad. We're trying to call a taxi. There's a big queue for the taxi. Everyone could see how fucked up I was, and no one let me get a taxi first or nothing.
That blows my mind.
At the end of the day, no one gives a fuck, and
that honestly blows my mind.
No one gives a fuck, and that's it. And I know that, I know that no one gives a fuck, and I'm all right. I'm all right. It's took me 23 years, like I say, as a fighter, to come to the conclusion that no one gives a fuck. Like, at the end of the day, my last fight in America, I had 2 fights. I could not get a fight. I'd trained for about 18 weeks for a fight. Obviously, that's money coming out of your pocket because you're not fighting. You're just paying out for training. I had to take a fight at fucking 2 weights above. And I had people non-stop every day. Oh, you broke, motherfucker. You're broke this, you're broke that. Had that fight, and then I remember the whole Scott McHugh actually got knocked out at the weekend.
Did he?
Yeah, in 2 rounds, I think.
I didn't catch up because
yeah.
BKB,
against
BYB
against
had
a
a
complete
fight
nobody. But anyway, so I they wanted me to have that fight. I said I'd do it, and I said I'd even do it with a 10k pay cut from what I was getting in Bkfc UK, and they still didn't agree to it. But the amount of fans and supporters who are like, you should do it for nothing, you should do it for free, you should do it. That's how much people care. They'd rather see you go in there in a professional bare knuckle fight and fight for nothing. After calling you a broke motherfucker for 6 months, they want to still see you go in there, and they're like, why won't you fight for free? And that's when it sort of twigged in my mind. I was like, do you know what? I need to take a step back from this fight game, man, because at the end of the day, I know I've got a lot of good supporters who love me and really do send me some nice messages and stuff like that. But on the whole, most people just want to see you go. If you died in that ring, I don't give a fuck. And you've got to think about that at the end of the day. And that was definitely the change in mindset going forward now, where I'm a bit like, do you know what? Maybe I should just call it a day, because look, you're not really getting the respect from anyone. So yeah, that was a big thing for me.
You talk about respect, Tyler. We spoke to a couple of your peers. We obviously did a bit of networking, went to the weigh-in, etc. We spoke to Connor Tierney and bumped into Danny Christie on the front there down at Port Benoose, and they were both, both very sort of complimentary of you and got a lot of respect for you. So that does shine through. I know you and Danny had, it was minor, but it was a bit online. But as I say, we bumped into him, Rogan, by them fancy yachts and whatever, and as we were looking by, and he just said if Tyler was here now, I'd shake his hand. He said, we both say things, we're fighters, we're men, we move on. And he's got, so... you say you're sort of disliked, but your peers and Connor Tierney likewise said, because we said we're
I don't think from a fighting point of view, I don't really see how you can disrespect me, to be totally honest, because like I say, I'm always in fight of the night. I always give 110%. As a fighter, the fighters know what is put into the training camp, what is put into the fight itself. So they know, from the casual supporter who just sees you turn up on fight night, and doesn't really care what you're getting paid or what, that's... And you want to be a fan favourite, do you know what I mean? And but yeah, on the whole, no one really gives a shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and your whole career around bare knuckle sort of quietened off, and then you went back to glove boxing. I remember being quite shocked when you made that announcement. What was the decision behind that? Was it the fact that you'd completely fallen out with Bkfc, and you found that was the next best route? Because you fought in America, didn't you? Yeah. In glove boxing. Just talk to us, Tyler, about the decision behind that and how that all come about.
Well, yeah, like I say, Bkfc didn't even, I hadn't spoke to them for many, many months at this point. My right hand, since the Soto fight, I have a lot of nerve damage in the middle knuckle. So even to get back fighting bare knuckle would be pretty dangerous on my health. At the end of the day, I'm 33. I've got, a lot of life to live. So, I was thinking perhaps get back to boxing with the gloves on, be much better for my hands. And in all honesty, it was a complete fucking nightmare. Like I say, I just could not get a fight. Had 2 fights that I signed the contract for, both pulled out a week out, so at the end of the day, anyone who knows anything about boxing, unless you're actually boxing and competing, you're not making money. So, I put in 8-10 week training camps in for fuck all, basically. And then I took a fight at 10 days notice up at super middleweight, which I have we're talking about James Lilly's opponent coming in 4 pounds over. I had to fight at 8 pounds over my fight weight, which is ridiculous. And then I've turned up on the day of the weigh-in, signed a contract, and the promoters come up to me, "Oh, sorry, we messed the contract up. Actually, it's 2 pounds heavier." So I had to even go heavier than that. So at that point, you're like, well, I need to get paid. So
against a quality operator
against a guy who's unbeaten, knocked everyone out he's been against. I've had 7 years out of boxing. So again, I just had the piss taken out of me. It's a regular theme in the fight game.
You were controlling that fight, weren't you? How did you feel the fight went in general?
I felt, look, I was, as always, I'm game. I'm there to fight. He fractured my rib in the first round. Wow, can he punch hard? He really can punch hard. And I've, like I say about the whole day before weighing, he probably come in 15 pounds heavier than me on the day of the fight. You could see he was much bigger than me. And then, like I say, I just kept going. I kept going and going. My thought process was, look, he's used to just bowling everyone over, show this guy no respect, and just, take him out of his comfort zone. I felt like I was doing that. I was catching him with some good shots. And actually the shot that he caught me with in the end, was a great counter. He had his back to the ropes. I was taking the fight to him. And just, the fact that, number one, he's knocked everyone out, so he can obviously punch. And number two, he's 2 weights above me. So, when you're fighting people like that, now that's all it takes.
It's like what we said earlier. It's a big difference, and we're not talking. We're talking. You guys are going in there and fighting for your lives. You're very skilled. You're very good at what you do. So it can be dangerous. We've got some questions for some fans that have messaged in on Instagram. We're going to get onto that in one moment, Scotty. That's on your phone. If you could, I sent them through. If you could just get that up now.
There's one question I want to ask Tyler on that subject, like with social media and stuff. Let's say Tony Soto, for instance, and Scott McHugh. You've obviously had rivalries and back and forth of them. Unfortunately, we're yet to see in the ring with Scott McHugh, and that doesn't probably look like it'll happen now, especially as he was beat, which I didn't. You just informed us of that Saturday, so you're probably kind of not on the same levels.
Scott McHugh is never, ever. He'll never, ever, as long as he's got a hole in his ass, be at my level. The fact that he called me out, it was like, you fucking narcissist, I'll punch your fucking head in. I answered the call, and he blocked me on everything on social media, so that
that was going to be my question. And Soto's,
so is Soto. It's
Why do you think they've blocked you?
Because smoke and mirrors. It's like they don't want to lose face in front of their friends and their supporters, so they just by cutting me out and blocking me on everything, it basically cuts all ties to me. So arsehole jobs, the pair of them. Soto, that's what I mean. He sat there with his fucking snide white Versace's on, giving it the big and all that. Geezer couldn't answer me. And not only that, at the weigh-in, when he butted Tanglia, he'd done that to me. I would have chewed his face off, mate. And, as simple as that. Soto knows it. Phony Soto.
And talking to Franco, he's come from a sort of tough upbringing. He's fought his way to the level. He's a little bit limited. Obviously, he's a fighter. He looks immaculate. He looks an absolute machine. But you've sort of said even this morning on your Insta, you'd be happy to, you believe you've got the tools and the skills to beat him, and he's the champion as it stands.
1,000,000%, yeah. He's, I've said to you before, I think that James Lilly, he would obviously be watching that fight and knowing he'd be super disappointed with the fact that he didn't win that Franco fight. To be honest, he got caught with a massive shot. I still don't know how he got up from it, but he closed his eye and he's pretty much looked like he's on the way to a stoppage. Do you know what I mean? And then got caught. So I think James, it would be actually be a harder fight rematching James Lilly, I feel like, than it would be fighting that Franco. Although he's obviously very strong, he can punch and that. I know that styles make fights, and I believe that I'd make that Franco. I'd do a highlight reel Navarro on him. It just embarrassing, hands down, bam, 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 counter, bang. He's
very easy to hit.
He's very limited. He's I can't knock his heart at all. Not for 1 minute, but super limited. Yeah.
We're going to get onto some questions. One of the questions that come in would you go and try dirty boxing? Mike Perry's new combat.
Is that with boxing gloves? Is it? Or like MMA glove type things, is it?
I think it's like smaller than MMA gloves or something, right. Or just bigger. So one of the two.
Yeah. No, look, like I say, at this point, I'm sort of, unless there's decent money on the table, I believe that I'm done with my fighting career now. To be honest, I just don't feel like there's any real respect in the game for us fighters anymore, unless you're at the top with a huge online presence, and you can sort of dominate that respect sort of thing.
I've just looked it up. It's 5 ounce gloves, so is that just a little bit bigger than UFC?
Bit bigger than UFC or MMA gloves. Yeah. I mean, look, I'd love it. It wouldn't be far off what bare knuckle is, I don't suppose. But yeah, unless there's some good money on the table, I don't need to do it, man. Do you know? At the end of the day, I don't need to do it.
It kind of leads into the next question, that one, because it says, and this is my mate Jay that sent this one in, get on Misfits Boxing, start smashing these streamers and NKSI.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like I've spoke to Mams Taylor at Misfits. If something come up worthwhile, again, going back to what we said earlier about being the full package, I'm marketable. I'm super controversial. I certainly know how to sell a fight. So, you know, it's sort of shame on you, these promoters, really, that they can't see that and just give me what I'm worth and I'll do the rest. But I'm not going to keep putting my life on the line for patents, mate. I'm not doing it.
No, that's fair enough, mate. Absolutely, I would agree with that. The next question is, I feel like you've kind of already answered it, and I don't think there's going to be a route for you back here. But somebody said, "Is there any chance of you fighting Franco Tenaglia?"
Show me that paper. It would just be, to be honest, it would be hard for me, and Bkfc know that they can't have me back on because I'm just going to talk so much shit about them. You know, like Dave Feldman, no, like Nate Shook. I've got a slap for you right across your fucking homeless face. And I'm not sure how I wouldn't be able to do it, to be honest.
So there's too much happened, doesn't there?
I think there's too much happened now.
Because I think there's many fighters that write on your stuff all the time that they want to see you back. But I think that you know, that bridge is done now, and it's there's no real going back from your Tyler, if we're being honest.
It's like I always say, shame on you, Bkfc, because at the end of the day, you lost a real one and you lost a fucking entertainer. Like
what a fight that is, by the way.
Yeah, like what a great fight. What a great fight. And all you had to do was just show me a little bit of respect, and you know, the fans would have that to look forward to. But the fact that you just can't do these basic fucking things shows what kind of promotion you are, really.
There's a lad called Liam who is clearly a Goodjohn fan because he's gone, it's not a question, but reminder that he still scored phony Soto. And he said phony, so he's...
They know. The real ones know, man. Like I say, I don't want to talk the fans down too much because I do have a great fan base who have stuck by me through thick and thin, always there to give me a bit of inspiration, bit of motivation. You know, big love to them people. But yeah, like I say, it's what it boils down to. You know, I've got to be shown a little bit of respect, and I've got to be paid what I'm worth.
Tyler, you got any respect for Soto? You shared the ring with him. Often that comes with respect, especially in this sport. You know, he's hit you, you've hit him. You had a war, it was close. I know there's smuck spoken. Is there any respect there at all as a fighter? He to be fair, we watched him live. He put it on the line the other night, and he was slumped over at the end. And you know, he didn't get knocked out early. You know, he was in there right till the bitter end, and he looked pretty tough, didn't he? To be fair, is there any respect as a fighter?
It's funny because obviously after our fight, we both went to the to get all stitched up, and we're both in the same room, and we just showed each other massive respect. You know, we did. You know, I know that he spoke. Oh, after the fight, Tyler was all right. I mean, we were all right, and I was, because we had a great fight. And at the end of the day, if you can't respect each other in that moment, there's something wrong with you. But the fact that he then went and blocked me and stopped all, you know, talk of a rematch, like, how can I respect that? Do you know what I mean? Because that fight, at the end of the day, I've come to your hometown in South Carolina. I'll beat you. Let's have it right. You know, you've only got to look at the comments on YouTube. Everyone knows that I won that fight. So he could have come over to Miami. We'd had the rematch. Whether I won, whether he won, you know, the respect would have been earned. But the fact that he blocked me,
respect was lost.
Yeah,
so it was there,
but
like,
then, you can't block people, man. Come on, you've got to be stand up and be counted in front of the fans. And you know, I know the fans wanted to see that fight again. So to just completely block me, it's a bit like hide and seek, isn't it? It's just like, you know, you're hiding from me, man. As simple as that.
We've got a couple of questions from Jack. He's sent some in. He said, "What's your hardest ever fight?"
I would probably say the Sean George fight. In terms of, you know, 7 rounds, we, you know, that was peak Sean George. He had 8 weeks off work. You know, we were, if I'd come in, you know, less fit than I'd been for that fight, I would have lost that fight because he was fucking fit and he's a tough man. You know, when I look at that fight now, we definitely both left a piece of each other in that ring. that night. Do you know what I mean? It was just so fast paced, but very technical as well. Obviously, the Palomino fight was difficult because not only did I have to go there on my own and without a training team and everything else, but also I'd never really even sparred the dirty boxing. Do you know what I mean? The clinch work and all that. So when I got in there, obviously Palomino's, had 50-something pro MMA fights, very good at the clinch game. I've since gone over there and he's taught it to me himself. It's a weapon, and I didn't really even know how to defend it, let alone do it myself. So that was difficult. But yeah, I think when I look back on that fight with Sean George, that was Pete Goodjohn versus Pete George, and 7 rounds. I honestly think, obviously I'm biased, but I think it's probably the best bare knuckle boxing bare knuckle fight there's ever been. It was super technical, but we were so fit. Like, the pace was just a million miles an hour.
Well, to do that many rounds at bare knuckle the story tells itself. Yeah. Jack also asked if you could. I feel like I know you're going to say if you could fight anyone right now, who would you fight?
Nate Shook.
I knew it. Fighter. I knew it.
Do you know what? Let me just tell another little story. And Bkfc fully know that they literally know the run by with this. My first fight in the middle of the pandemic, I obviously quarantined for 15 days in Dubai. Then I went to Vegas training myself. I got COVID. Was it 2 weeks? Might have even been 10 days out from the fight with Felony Bennett. Mark Godbeer, who I was with, a very good friend of mine, ex-UFC fighter, he come down with COVID as well, got double pneumonia on his lungs, ended up in hospital. I thought the guy was going to die. He was coughing up blood. I obviously got COVID as well and was very ill. We stayed in, because we weren't even laid out the hotel that we'd stayed in because of the whole heat gun thing. So I'm in there, I'm down in the gym, trying to lose weight with COVID. I'm all wrapped up and stuff like that. I won't mention a name, but so-and-so took me to a medic spot because I was in need of a negative test to obviously be able to fly to Mississippi. Went there, sat in the car, Dettol on some Q-tips, cleaned out my nose, gone into the medic spot, got a negative test, flew to Mississippi, and won. Do you know what I mean? With no training team. So, and BKC are fully aware of that. Had I have pulled out, that whole show would have gone under. So, in terms of a company man, he's sat here, mate.
Now, we're going to wrap up. Before I say thank you as a fan for all the fights that you've give the fighting fans across the world, I do want to give a special mention because in Marbella we bumped in. Is it Christine Ferret? Is that how I say it?
Christine, yeah.
So Christine was there, and we'll tell the story. We managed to get VIP access, which we were buzzing with, me and Scotty, and all the stars were there, and we recognised Christine was there. And obviously, having done the training session with you, we know how highly you spoke of Christine. So we were trying to get her attention. She was in the middle. She had her shades on, her belt. She was bopping along, loving life. We managed to get her attention, and Scotty said, "We're friends with Tyler Goodjohn." And she's like this. She's like, "What?" And then we're like, we're Tyler Goodjohn's friends. And in the minute that, it went from that initial, like, who are these two blokes over here calling me? And then she was, as soon as she realised that we said your name, she was like, "Oh, I love that guy, man." And she was buzzing, and we had a really, really good chat with her, and she said so many good things about you. So I know we've spoke about some people in not the greatest light. I wanted to end it on a note where you tell us what you think of Christine.
Oh, I love Christine. Christine is my homie for life. She cornered me in my first fight, like I was just saying about against Felony Bennett, because I didn't have a training team. She went above and beyond to help me. And obviously we've met up numerous times since, and whenever we meet up, she's just a friend for life, genuine friend for life. She's a badass. I mean, I ain't got to say that. You only go see her fights. But yeah, love Christine. Big shout out. She's the champ, the misfit, and yeah. thanks for the respect.
Nah, she was quality. It was funny because I was asking her about her fight with Taylor Starlin and what happened there and stuff, and she was showing me something about a jab and that, and Scotty was facing the other way, chatting to somebody else, and she's like kind of spun Scotty around and using Scotty's mannequin. Scotty's there like that. All of a sudden, he's got Christine's jab popping out. But she's such a great character. She's a hell of a fighter, and even meeting her as a fan, she was top draw, as many of the fighters were, to be honest. And
do you know what? Like, not just, there's a lot of fighters obviously that I got on really well. Like the fighting stable itself, we all know what we go through, so it's it's very rare to fall out with a fighter because, you've got that understanding what we're all doing and stuff like that. But, Christine is definitely a real one, mate.
I think, Tyler, for me as well, being in that sort of environment for the very first time and being in and around fighters, I have no idea what it's like other than just watching it on TV. That's my experiences with fighting. Is I really come away from Marbella on the weekend, having realised that there is... Everybody in the fight game was dead nice. Anyone that you approached, I met Britton Hart. I've watched heaps of her fights. Everybody was so nice. And there does seem, because we all, fight fans, we hear the trash talk and the people dissing other people. But there is a mutual respect. And you really, once you're in that environment, you can really see that. And that was something that I come away going, like, that's pretty sick. I like that, like there's a mutual respect from everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Now, Tyler, Scotty, have you got anything else to ask him?
No, I was just going to say, about what Tyler Goodjohn's doing now, whether you fight or not, we've obviously covered that. It'd have to be the right opportunity, but, you're in a good place now. As I say, you could probably come away from that show thinking, well, I'm still in good fettle and good health. You look brilliant, mate. I must say, I said that to you the other day. We train you, keep fit and well. I think it's a good thing to do, to exercise and do that mentally. I do it for myself, and I think that's good practice. But you're in a good place now. You're doing a few bits and pieces, training. Obviously, that's something you enjoy doing, and you're back home. You're in a pretty good place. I believe James Lilly asked me the other day, how's he doing? So how is Tyler Goodjohn doing now?
Yeah, I mean, for the people who know, obviously, I was living in America a couple of months ago. Things didn't work out with a woman again. That's always been my kryptonite, women. And now I'm back home, but it was difficult out in America. Obviously, I was living on my own. Big shout out to my brother Rigo, who I live with. If I hadn't had him there, I wouldn't have been out there for as long as I was. It was an amazing experience. I got to train with my coach, Eric El Tigre Castellanos, and the team, and I loved every minute of it. But ultimately, I was on my own. I was trying to do things. Now being back around friends and family, and things that are, local to me. So yeah, I'm cracking on. I really, really love the coaching side of things. I feel like my passion, besides fighting, is just helping other people achieve their goals at the end of the day. I know how big fitness is towards mental health, and things like that. So I feel like, I can give a lot to people's lives in that aspect.
Doesn't have to be boxing. It's
of course it does. Just fitness.
You're a quality coach as well. The session in there, we had a great time, and I spent the next week, mate, like leaning right back foot trying to pop them. But it's good. I'm the same. I've played football and never reached sort of professional level and couldn't manage to get a professional career, but played part time and really fell in love with the coaching side of it. So it kind of, as another coach, I know it's another sport. It's pleasing to hear that you enjoy that side, because I certainly know that. Look, if I know I live in Australia, but if I lived here, I'd be booking in with you all the time.
Thank you.
So it's good to hear that you actually enjoy it. You're not doing it because you feel like that's the only option you've got.
No, despite probably what people see on online, I'm a real people person. I really do like helping people. Whether it be the boxing side of things technically, or just their fitness, losing weight, whatever it be. I can resonate with that. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, having the career I had. So people often say to me, they're like, oh, you're so patient as a coach. And I'm saying, look, at the end of the day, I've been fighting 23 years. This doesn't happen overnight. And I know that more than anyone. So that's why, you know, I'm as patient as I am with people. And, you know, I understand at the end of the day. I think unless you've really fought, and I know that people will disagree, but unless you've really fought, you don't really understand because you haven't been in there, and it really is an alien thing. Do you know what I mean? Getting in there, fighting in front of thousands of people, especially bare knuckle, all the emotions that go with it, it's just the most unnatural thing there is, you know? So having that experience behind me, I know exactly how people are feeling. You know?
If Tyler, if that was the end for Tyler Goodjohn on the fighting level, which, like I say, we don't know, and you know you're a mercurial character, you never know what could pop up, you know. But if that was it, if you were to go back to that, you know, that young face, we see a picture up there of Peter Sims. You know, you boxed as a youngster, you was on the back of the newspapers locally in Cambridge. But if you told that younger Tyler Goodjohn, it was 9 or 10, that sort of started out and said, this is how it's going to be. You're going to go there. You're going to fight in front of this many people. You're going to be fight of the night there. You're going to be under Anthony Joshua's undercard. You know, would you have accepted that and been proud?
I've said that last few days. People have sort of been saying to me what I'm doing next, and I went, do you know what? I've far exceeded, you know, what I thought I'd ever achieve. To be fair, in terms of, like you say, you know, I've been fighting on big shows for years and years. You know, my professional debut was on a Tyson Fury show.
York Hall.
Yeah, York Hall, on his first fight against an American opponent. You know, so I've been about, man. I've been about a long time. Ending up going to Miami, headlining shows in South Carolina, headlining shows in Miami. I can't complain, you know, in terms of the achievements. Obviously, the money could be a bit better, but all fighters will tell you the same thing. It's never been about the money. You know, that's not what drives us. You know, that's, you know, as simple as that. It's not what drives us. You wouldn't get to where you are now if you'd done it for the money. So yeah, I've had a great career. I'm 33, and people will be like, oh, you know, you've still got time left and things like that. But I think something that fighters, well, they don't think of is obviously life after boxing or life after fighting. You know, I don't want to be so crippled up that I can't do anything. I want to enjoy my life after fighting. So, you know, it's just a bit of forward thinking now, what I'm going to do next. And if Franco, whatever your Spagbolia, whatever your name is, like, if the money's there, I will come and school your ass, mate. And I'll give Nate Shook a fucking 5-finger fucking slap as well, because he's a little prick.
I love it. It's so Tyler that we've just spoke about you winding down and doing it, and then bang, you're like, right, you're calling someone out.
It's mate. It's
who doesn't want to see that
when
fight?
I'm like 70, 80, in there, it's always going to be.
It's going to be there. That's why it's funny.
I've been doing it since I was 10 years old. It's always going to be there, man.
Doesn't leave you, does it?
Nah, of course it doesn't. But at the end of the day, like I alluded to earlier, you know, as much as the fans want to see me fight for fuck all, there has to be some kind of reparation, there has to be some kind of money, because at the end of the day, I've got to be able to fucking live. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, doing the whole gym stuff, like I said, if I'm in a bare knuckle fight, my job is doing pads and classes. That's me out of work for, you know, potentially 2-3 weeks, you know? So people have to bear in mind that there's a life away from fighting. I don't just do fighting. Actually, I've got to say this as well. I was at the Hadnam ABC boxing show on Saturday, and someone come up to me and he was sort of saying, what are you doing next? And I just said, well, look, you know, probably nothing unless, you know, a good money fight comes up. And he turned me, he said, but you must be a millionaire now. And I just burst out laughing. And to be honest, like, it sounds ridiculous, but people, you know, they look at Joshua, they look at all these big fights going on, they see all the money that's being earned, and they generally believe that you're not far behind that.
It's funny that is obviously the perception, right? You would believe that fighters get looked. Oh, you get loads of money because people only ever look at the top, don't they? And they think that it all filters down. And if he's getting millions, he must be getting hundreds of thousands.
Exactly.
But it doesn't work like that, right?
So it is what it is. But yeah, if you give me the call in 30 years, well, whoa, hold on, I'll probably be up for it.
Now, listen, Tyler, I want to say thank you for all the fights that you've been involved in. As I say, you're a fight of the night contender pretty much every time you fight. There is a part of me that goes, if you do wind down, you don't fight ever again. As your friend now, as well as your fan, there's something quite warming in my heart where I go, well, at least you're not taking any more punishment and putting your body on the line and putting your health and your life at risk. So thanks a lot, mate. Thanks a lot for the session the other week. It was so enjoyable.
For coming from Aussie into the Warriors workshop in the Fens.
No, it was brilliant, mate. It was quality. and I do want to say, if you do have one last dance, then it would be wicked if I could. I would make the effort to fly out wherever it is and do a little doco and follow you and be behind the scenes with you. That would be wicked.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Do you reckon we could do that if you ever fight again?
That'd be sick.
Wicked.
Yeah, I'd like that a lot. Yeah.
Quality.
Yeah.
No, thanks a lot, mate. Thanks a lot as well to my bro Scotty, who's done heaps and helped me with this as well. So, boys, that was quality. Thanks a lot.
Wicked. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, Tyler.
Thank you, brother.